If you're just like a couple highlighter and couple colored pen girl, go for it. If you want the whole shebang and you want even like pom-poms and glitter and paint, whatever the case may be, go for it. I highly encourage getting creative with your Bible, so however complex or simple you want to make it, go for it. Hey guys, and welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. If you're new here, my name is Rachel and I am a crazy, chaotic, ADHD brained, creative, dog mom, Bible lover, reader. Oh my goodness. Welcome. So today I'm going to be showing how I take notes and kind of journal in my Bible. This was actually requested by my wonderful, amazing Bible study group. So shout out to all of you wonderful ladies. And my friend Rachel in the group came up with the term Bibling. So combining Bible and journaling, it's Bibling. So I'm gonna be showing you guys how I Bible today. So I have kind of an interesting setup. I have my phone, which is recording, is balancing on my iPad, which is recording the my Bible down below, so I can show like my workspace or my my Bible and my notebook while I show my face, and it's all like balanced out with a coffee cup. So I'll take a picture of my setup and I'll throw that up here so you can see how completely ridiculous this is. So if anything goes wrong, we'll power through it. But I figure we can kind of just dive right into it. The reason that I think personally it's really important to have a system for note-taking in your Bible is, for me, it's a lot easier to kind of compile all the information that I'm learning and kind of string it all together. That's how my brain works. A big part of my ADHD is needing like colors and structures and this and that, and I've always been a huge note taker, and that just really helps me learn and kind of make the most of my Bible. So I got this Bible about 2 years ago. Hello, buddy. I got this Bible about 2 years ago, and before I really dug into it, I took like 2 months to set up a system for color coding, for the pens I was gonna use, for the highlighters I was gonna use, everything. And I've been using that system for almost 2 years now, and I really love it. It just helps me to, one, kind of study better, actually know how to go in and take notes. And for me, I have to have a system before I'm gonna start a project. Otherwise, I just get caught up in trying to figure out the details and nothing gets done. So having a system helps me to kind of just stop messing around and actually get into the word, which is obviously super important. It helps keep you organized so that you're not, you know, wasting time or getting off track, and you're really taking all of your time to dig into the word and kind of learn and figure things out and grow, versus being like, what color highlighter should I pick, and then getting distracted and doing a whole thing, which is super easy for ADHD minds like mine. It also makes your notes a lot more accessible. So for me, something that really bugs me is when I go back and I look at like school notes or notes in my Bible or whatever the case may be, and I'm like, what did I mean by this? Because I'm using some weird shorthand that I, in the moment, was like, this makes sense, but then later have no idea what I was talking about. Or I used a symbol that I've never used before thinking I would remember. So I don't have that problem since I have a system for taking notes. So it makes everything in there. There's a purpose for it. I can know what I was thinking without having to spend a whole lot of extra time writing stuff out. And it just makes my notes a lot more accessible. Another reason I highly recommend having a system for taking notes in your Bible is it helps you string everything together. So the Bible is a living document. It is something that grows with us, and our understanding grows over time, and it can teach us so many different things on so many different levels. So it's helpful to not just have a bunch of random notes on random topics, but having a system for how I take notes and then being able to look at all of those and the different things that they mean all in one place helps to kind of string different things together that I otherwise wouldn't have. So that aha moment, I love those. I absolutely love those aha moments where you kind of have a connection and you come to some really awesome conclusion, or you realize something about yourself or about who God is, or different things like that. That's so exciting to me. And so having everything out and open and accessible makes it a lot easier to string those together, string different things together and have those aha moments that are so special. And the final reason is 100% aesthetic. I just really love the look of a lived-in Bible, of lived-in notes, of highlighters everywhere, of pens everywhere, and having a structure to it. I've always been a huge paper person. I have a paper planner, I have like paper everything, and I just love the look of a well-loved Bible. So Kristen Cho, I believe, is the blogger who initially introduced me to the concept of Bible wrecking, she calls it, where you kind of, instead of just using your Bible as a book to look at and read, you really get into it, dig into it, almost look at it as an art project. Not in, I don't really like paint or draw in my Bible very much, but like highlighting, writing in it, just getting in there and using it. So I don't remember where I read this, but but there's a well-known phrase the phrase I believe is, a Bible that's falling apart usually belongs to a person who isn't. And so I love the idea of just getting in there, using my Bible, and having it just be something that I use a lot and that represents me and my journey to faith. So without further ado, we will get into the actual meat and potatoes of how I use my Bible. So the actual Bible that I have, I will put a link to it down in the description. It was just a basic, I believe it's New Living Translation, and it was a journaling Bible. So it has wide margins that were made specifically for journaling. They're lined, which is really, really helpful because I tend to like write on a slant. And then it had white pages. I specifically did not want the yellow or cream pages. I really wanted white because I wanted my colors to pop. So I purchased this Bible on Amazon. I think it was like $25 in 2018, which is when I bought it. And I love it. It has a cloth cover, which is what I really wanted because I knew I wanted to paint my Bible, and after doing some research I found that cloth covered Bibles are the easiest to paint, and so that is what I did there. So that is what my Bible is from. I think it's from Tyndale, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, that link will be down in the description, but I really, really love my Bible. It holds up well. The pages don't really bleed. You can see some highlighting and some pen marks, but for the most part, it holds up really, really well for what I need it to do, which is awesome. I've only have like 1 or 2 page tears, which I'll just throw a piece of tape over there and we're good to go. But the Bible is perfect for what I need it for, and I love it. I kind of wish there was a little bit more room in the margins because I like to write a lot, and I like to write a lot at one time. So then going back later, I might have to write on a sticky note because I run out of space. But it works really well for what I need it for, and I really highly recommend it if getting into more Bible journaling or taking notes or different whatever is something that you're looking to do. So for my notebook, I actually have an entire video that I did last week about my notebook, and I love my notebook. I use it for everything from Bible note-taking to Bible journaling to prayer journaling to organizing my life and planning out my garden. I will put the link to that video right here if you want to go and check that out, so I won't spend too much time talking about that. But I do have a notebook where I keep all of my different notes that don't go directly in my Bible, which I'll get to. For highlighters, so I am a huge stationery and pen person, and I have this fun like retro vintage looking little pen case that I got from Joann's, I think. Yeah, I think I got it from Joann's. And I got it because there's like a little vintage lady on here that reminds me of my grandma. So I thought this was really fun, and it reminded me of my grandma, so I got it. But the pens that I use, not the pens, the highlighters that I use are mild liners. For the longest time I thought it was mid-liners, and I was like, what the heck is a mid-liner? It's mild liner, and that's because a lot of the colors are very mild. They're not super bright neon. They are just nice and relaxing colors. There are a couple different neon ones, but for the most part the colors are just really calm, really nice. Some of them are darker, some of them are lighter, and there's a ton of them. So this was the first pack that I got. This is, I think, just like the standard pack of highlighters, and there are 15. And they also will come out with different shades that aren't a part of the pack. So like these, for example, I just found them at, I think, Michael's. Michael's sells them individually. These are definitely my favorite brand of highlighter. You can see there is kind of a chiseled end, and then there's also a very fine point end. So this is really nice for, you know, you can do like a chunk highlight, or you can do like a little drawing, or even what I like to do is I'll do a little drawing in my Bible and then trace it with highlighter. So this is really nice for really getting in there. You don't have to use like the point of the chisel, which is what I had been doing with other highlighters. So I really highly recommend mild liners, and you can find them pretty much anywhere at any craft store. Again, Michael sells them individually. I don't know about other craft stores if they sell them individually. But what I did with these is I actually created a color coding system, which I'll get into in a minute. And then I went in and I labeled every single one of my highlighters with a number corresponding to what it is in my color coding chart, so that I don't get them mixed up, because I hate, it's a huge pet peeve of mine when I think I'm using one color and then I end up using another color. So then I use the wrong color for the wrong thing, and it's just a bad time for everybody. So I literally used my mother-in-law's label maker to go in and label my mild liners. Pens. So pens are a really huge deal for me. When I find a good pen, we're bonded for life. Like I now pronounce you Rachel and pen. Like that is the level of devotion I have to my pens. And there are 2 different kinds that I use for Bible journaling and only one that I use in my actual Bible. So the one that I use for things like prayer journaling, taking notes in my notebook, I like to use the InkJoy gel pen. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Papermate InkJoy gel pen. And this you can get for like $2 at Michael's or any craft supply store really. These are really nice for just writing thick black lines. I love it. It's really nice. The only thing about these is they write fantastically until they don't, and then they're dead. So you'll get to a point where like maybe 25% of the ink is used and then the pen just decides it's not gonna work anymore. What you can do, something that I found online as a hack, is take a lighter and kind of like stick the tip of the pen into the lighter, and that kind of helps to get the ink flowing for a little bit longer. I've had mixed results with that and almost exploded the pen a couple times, so do that at your own risk. But, so this is what I use for things like prayer journaling and writing in my notebook, but then for writing in my actual Bible, these are my favorite pens I've ever used in my entire lives, you guys. These are, and there's actually a really funny story behind these pens. So they are the Pilot BPS fine tipped pens, and they have a very small tip, which makes them perfect for writing teeny tiny little notes. I like to write a lot and I like a really fine line. Like when I'm using a mechanical pencil, I'll keep flipping the pencil around so I can keep using the teeny tiny like chiseled point. So these are perfect because they're so fine. They write so smoothly. They're perfect for writing in a Bible. I haven't had any issues with them whatsoever. Like they're amazing. I love them. And I actually discovered these pens when Steven and I were living in Guatemala in like the little supermarket. They had an office supply space with all of these amazing office supplies. Oh, it's starting to rain through my window, which is open. That's wonderful. So I found these pens and I fell in love with them. And when we got back to the States, I thought, ooh, that scared the crap out of me. The wind is like blowing the door and so it keeps slamming today. Ooh. So I bought a ton of these, and then when I got back to the States, I tried to find them online and I found them on Amazon, but the box of pens was like $20 or something. So what I do, every time my husband's best friend Chris, who still lives in Guatemala with his wife, every time he comes up to the US, I make him bring me like 100 pens. So yes, so these are my favorites. There's, let's see, so there's blue, there's black, there's red, there's green, there's purple, and there's pink. I have all the different colors. I literally have like 60 of each of these, not 60 of each of these, probably like 60 of these pens downstairs because I love them so much and I go through them like crazy. I try to keep track of them. Like if I have 3 in my purse, I try to make sure by the time I'm done using them, there are still 3 in my purse, but I still kind of use them, or I still kind of lose them. Like in the book, The Devil Wears Prada, how Miranda always wears an Hermes scarf everywhere she goes and she just like leaves them all over the place like they're tissues. That's kind of me with these pens. Like I take these pens everywhere, but I always accidentally leave them everywhere. So I love these pens for writing in my Bible. They're amazing. And trust me, I tried every single pen out there. These are the best. So as far as extras, those are kind of the base things that I use. So I keep everything in my little pen case, like I said. And this goes with me, I chuck it in my bag if I'm gonna be taking my Bible anywhere, because then I have everything I need. I don't have to take a big chunky bag with me. I can just throw my little pencil bag into my purse. But as far as any extras, I do use some sticky notes and I also use washi tape in my Bible. So like I said, I like to write a lot. So if I run out of space, or if I have like a little prayer or something that I want to throw in my Bible, instead of writing that in my actual Bible, I'll use a little sticky note. And I really like the tiny sticky notes. I should have brought some up here with me. I don't think I have any. But I really like the really small sticky notes. Those are the perfect size to fit in the margins, and then I can kind of throw them anywhere I want. Or if I have a little scrap of paper I want to put in my Bible, I'll use washi tape to just tape it in there. And I also used washi tape to go in and label the different books of the Bible according to like what type of book it is, if that makes sense. I don't think I have my key up here. I'll find my key for the books of the Bible and I'll put it on the screen when we get to that. But I use sticky notes and washi tape as well in my Bible. And that is pretty much it. It really can be as complex or as simple as you want it to be. If you're just like a couple highlighter and couple colored pen girl, go for it. If you want the whole shebang and you want even like pom-poms and glitter and paint, whatever the case may be, go for it. Honestly, getting creative with my Bible is the best thing I ever did, because then I get more engaged with it. I like dig into it and I'm like, oh, this is fun. I can do this fun little thing and this and that. So I highly encourage getting creative with your Bible. So however complex or simple you want to make it, go for it. All right, so now to get into the actual system of my Bible. And at this point, I'll probably bring up my little like Bible cam down here. This is a really weird setup, so I'm gonna make sure it's actually recording. All right, so far so good. So this is my notebook, which like I said, I already did an entire video on this. So go and watch that if you haven't already. But I'll skip right to my color coding system. This is not completely up to date. I have a lot more colors and a lot more meanings to those colors that I haven't added to this, that are kind of just tucked in my brain. And I was gonna go through and add all of those for the video, but that can get really overwhelming. So I figured I would keep it somewhat simple, because this isn't super simple, but it's like simpler than what's in my head. What I did was this is what took me like 2 months to put together. I really wanted a color-coded system where I could easily kind of keep track of everything, highlight different places in the Bible according to what type of text it is, like a command, what will happen if you follow God, something about Jesus, something about the nature of God, etc. So I took the time to like test out a bunch of different like topics and color combinations, and this is what I came up with. So we'll just kind of go through it. So when there's a promise being made in the Bible, I use this really pretty pink color, and then once that promise is fulfilled, I have this grapey color purple. Promises made and then promises fulfilled, like pink and purple are related, so yeah, I don't know. I have these weird connections in my brain, it makes sense to me. Then when there's something about God or that kind of gives insight into the nature of God, I have this really pretty blue color. About Jesus is kind of a red, because like red letter. When there's a command or mention of a law or some sort of wisdom for, you know, how to live a faith-filled life, etc., that goes in gold, because like you get little gold nuggets that you can use in your life. And then the result of obedience / righteousness, so you know what happens, the blessings that you might receive, or what God promises when you live a faithful life to him, that is in green. Topics in the book, I'll get into that in a second. When there's a general note, I have this blue color that's kind of more like a periwinkle-ish. Then I also have a couple other colors just so I can have a variation. If there's like 3 random notes in a row, I don't want them to all be the same color. So I do have a couple different colors that I use for a general note. And then a post-it topic, I'll get into that as well. Then I have a couple specific color combinations for the main topics that I kind of have found meaningful to me or that I am trying to learn about. So when something relates to marriage, I'll take the note in purple pen, and any highlighting that needs to be will be done in this light purple color. When there's a note about me or my tendencies or something that I want to apply to myself, I take any notes in pink, and any highlighting happens in gray. And then for family, specifically parenting, which I'm not a parent yet, but I'm already trying to plan out the kind of mom I want to be, because I want to be really, really intentional about being a mom. Something I've always wanted to do. I won't get into that now because I'll get off on a tangent. But anything about family and kids and how a family dynamic should be, any notes get taken in a dark blue pen, and then any highlighting happens in a nice, bright, light blue color. So that is the basics of my note-taking system. If you just want to take that and run with it, feel free. If you want to add your own, take away whatever, go for it. I highly recommend using a color coding system though, because it just kind of helps to quickly understand without having to read a bunch of notes that you've written. So that is probably my biggest piece of advice if you're looking to get into Bible journaling or taking notes. So to kind of quickly show you an example of what that looks like in play, I'll flip through a couple of different pages. So here you can see we're in 1 Samuel. There are some notes about who God is, so I highlighted those in the About God color. Then over here, no one will succeed by strength alone. That spoke to me personally, so I highlighted it in gray, wrote a note to myself in pink, and then to help me reference what the note is referring to, I outline it in whatever color it's referring to. So here, this pink note is referring to the gray highlighting, so I did a little outline in gray. Here, he will protect his faithful ones. That relates to, you know, the product of a faithful life. So Hello. So when you're living a faithful life to God, He will protect you. So then I made a little note about that. That's in the green color because that's what that relates to in my color coding system. Wrote that in black because that's what my general notes get written in. And then I outlined it in the green color. I also really like to make a date or make a note of the date because then I can kind of go back, correlate it to different Bible studies that I'm doing or different sermons that I've read, and I can kind of also see my different thoughts over time. So I highly recommend making a note of the date in your Bible as well. Here, there was a note about family, so I wrote it in blue and outlined it in the light blue. Now, this relates to parenting, and this corresponds to my next point that I'm gonna get into, which is my specific notes on specific topics section in my notebook. Again, if you're getting overwhelmed, feel free to close out of the video. I know it's a lot, but this is how my brain works. This is what I found works for my crazy, chaotic ADHD brain. So again, there is literally zero pressure to do anything a certain way. It's just how you learn best, and this is how I learn best. So as crazy and ridiculous as it might seem, this is what's going on in my brain. So here you can see I have parenting in a little box, and it's in this little, like, outlined in this apricot color. So going back to my notebook, I have this cute little divider here for my Bible notes. I have a table of contents and then specific pages for various topics. And it's just a short amount, or a small amount, I guess, of topics. So we have marriage, parenting, sin, obedience, money, blessings, ADHD, hospitality, and the church. So when I come across a topic that I really want to learn more about, or that I want to kind of dive into, or kind of keep at the forefront of my mind, I'll add a page for it in my notebook. And then I kind of can keep all of my notes and ideas and thoughts on one overarching major topic in one place, and kind of go back into the word as I need to put the pieces together. Right here we have 1 Samuel 2 and parenting. And let's see, this is from July 13th, 2019. So we'll go right over to the parenting page. Oh, I put it on a sticky note here. So then we have 1 Samuel 2, 12 through 17, which I used the apricot color to show the passage I was talking about. And then I have my note here. Even a priest's sons turned out wicked. All we can do as parents is our best. The rest is up to God. So that kind of helps me take a large thought that I have about a topic and keep it in one place, also without taking up a ton of space in my Bible. So, you know, if I want to go back and look at my thoughts on parenting, I don't have to flip through to every single place in my Bible. I can go to one place. But then also, if I have a lot of thoughts about something, if I don't want to take up a lot of space, that doesn't mean I can't write the note down or write my thoughts down. I can have it all in a place where it's easily referenced just by looking at the date and the topic. So it's really, it's easy for me now that I've created the system and gotten into the swing of it. But let's find another example just to keep showing you how this works. So, okay, sin. We have sin. This note was also on July 13th, and this was another note about family as well. So I have two different overarching topics here that I wanted to reference, sin and parenting. So going into the book, let's see. We'll just do the sin topic. Okay, 1 Samuel 3:13, that's what I was referencing. And my note here, allowing sin to go on without intervening where possible is the sin itself. If I can do something to be effective to stop it, I need to. So again, that's just an example of how I can just make a little note that this relates to an overarching topic that I've been collecting thoughts on, and then I can go and look at all of my thoughts in one place. This is not something you have to do. I kind of adapted this from Kristen Cho's system, her Bible wrecking system, and kind of built it out a little bit to suit my needs. I find it very helpful, but at the same time, it is a little bit overwhelming sometimes if I'm kind of running short on time. I don't always want to take the time to write out all of my thoughts. So I kind of play with the system as I go. I'll make maybe a short note about something and throw it on the page like I did here with parenting. So then later I can go back when I have time and add it and kind of get more detailed. life happens, having a system that can kind of bend and flex to what I need it to be is super, super helpful. So then the last thing that I'll go over today is how I used washi tape to differentiate between the different books of the Bible. So what I did was I looked up a system, not a system really, I just looked up a chart that grouped the books of the Bible by different categories. So like the Gospels, the history books, the letters to the different churches, etc. I will find my washi tape kind of key to the code and throw that up on the screen here. But I will show you what it looks like in my Bible. And this took me literally like 3 days to do. It looks really cute when you look at it. In case I didn't show you already, this is the front of my Bible. I painted it myself. I'm kind of proud of how it turns out, but the background was supposed to be solid navy blue, but it ended up being this weird clear-ish thing, so it looks like denim to me, and I really don't like denim, despite the fact that I'm wearing a denim shirt and jeans right now. Oh wow, this really isn't a good look for me. It is what it is, and for me, I'm kind of like, well, you know what? It represents my relationship with God. It's not perfect, but it's mine, and we're working with it. So this is the front, and then this is the back, and this is the spine. So I did hand paint this myself. So this is what my washi tape system looks like just from the top. Let me make sure the camera is still in focus here. It is. So starting with Genesis, I have this really pretty green color, and you can, so these, I've done a lot in Genesis, so you can see how the system looks when I'm using it and kind of digging into the word, and I like to do these little drawings and things. So this is what my system looks like in use a little bit as we're flipping through to Exodus, just so you can kind of see. But then we flip over to Exodus. I even made a little note here that I wanted to do a watercolor sunflower. I still obviously haven't done the watercolor sunflower, and that was last year. Cool. So then we flip over to Exodus, and it's still part of the history books. And then I can flip through to the next book really quickly just by looking for the next bit of washi tape. So then I have these fun pineapples, and then flowers, and then some fun watermelon, which I really, really like, and on from there. So you can see, again, I'll put the key up on the screen, but there are different types of washi tape, and I just did this on the first page of each book of the Bible. So then I can really easily flip through. Like if I'm in Matthew and I need to get to Romans, I can just be like, okay, this is so many books ahead, and just flip over really easily instead of flipping through my Bible, which if I do it really fast, I can tend to tear pages because I kind of get excited and then I'm like, ah, and then just, I'm not as careful as I need to be. So this makes it a lot easier to navigate, and then I'm also not having to flip to the front of my Bible all the time and use the table of contents, which even though I literally grew up in the church, went to Christian school, have taken more Bible classes than I can count, I still can't just navigate my Bible by memory. I have to look at the table of contents sometime. So, that was the primer on how I use my Bible. So I might go into detail and do maybe how to create your own color coding system. Maybe I'll do some a Bible journal with me or something video. If you guys have any questions about my system or about anything that I've used, any of the products I like, anything like that, feel free to leave those in the comments, and I'm always happy to make videos about what you guys want to hear about. So yeah, this is something that has really, really helped my crazy, chaotic ADHD brain get into the habit of and actually enjoy reading and studying the Bible. It's something that I always struggled with because I'm not a huge fan of just sitting and reading and trying to absorb information. I need to get into it. I need to interact with it. And this is a system I found that just really, really works for me. I highly recommend giving it a try or trying out different parts, seeing what works for you. But yeah, leave me a comment letting me know what you think of the system, what your system looks like. I would love if you want to link me to pictures that you have or even your own video. I would love, love, love to see all of those. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you get notified. I'm starting to kind of churn out videos every week. I think I've been pretty consistent the last couple of weeks, and I'm working on more ADHD focused, faith focused, some both, some separate, a bunch of different kinds of videos, along with some interesting story times. There's a really, really crazy situation that literally sounds like a spy hacker movie happening in my life right now. So I don't know if I'm gonna make a story time about that quite yet. Looking at it as a dramatic potential story time is helping me kind of get through it at the moment. So we'll see. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Thanks again to my wonderful Bible study group for requesting this video. I guess you guys didn't really request a full video. You just kind of asked me what I do and I took it and ran from there. But all right, that's it. Signing off. Bye.